What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Monday. Bobby Five Flying Solo Sheets had an emergency, so had to go. Going to talk through this MLB slate real quick. There's not a whole lot of trickiness. We honestly just need a Marlins lineup before we can do anything, and that's sort of the one thing that's remaining. It's hard not to like Coors today, but at the same time, I do think that, obviously taking the underweight approach, I think is just always the right approach for tournaments when you have this kind of concentrated ownership, especially on the Marlins side. I like using some Marlins, playing two or three or something like that, along with the priority stacks. I am prioritizing as of right now the Seattle as my number one stack. And I like both sides of the Detroit KC game. I don't mind if people want to take chances on Atlanta and on a different. If there was no weather and a different slate down the road, we'll get a chance to play Gavin Stone. He's a talented young guy, and he's just he's had a little bit of struggles, even in the PCL earlier this year, which is more of a hitters league anyway. But I do think the Braves are a very reasonable stack today. I'm just not getting them much. I also don't mind a little bit of Boston, a little bit of Minnesota, but I'm pretty heavily focused on Seattle, Detroit, and KC with Miami and Colorado pieces. That's the way that I'm approaching this. My favorite pitchers are Javier and Castillo on DraftKings, and my next followed by Burns, followed by Ober. Let me just make sure I've got my things right. Yeah, that's right. Followed by Burns, followed by Ober. But I have Castillo number one, Javier number two, Burns number three, and Ober number four. I'm not using any other pitchers today. I don't mind if you wanted to get creative and play. Charlie Morton's a tough matchup, but I do think that that's like the kind of move you could make on a smaller slate like today, and I think that you can get away with it. The problem is he's got to outscore, unless you're playing him with one of the Burns or Castillo, he's got to outscore two guys who just have better matchups than, I don't know if Burns has a better matchup than he does. Well, yeah, he does. It's better. I'd rather face Houston than the Dodgers. But that's sort of what we're dealing with today. I see the issue with the Braves weather. I also want to point out that in Atlanta, the winds are blowing in 10 miles an hour from left field. It's still good hitting weather, and especially the lefties would make a lot of sense. But I don't mind the idea. What I'm running into problems with is I actually have like a one-off a couple of times of Austin Riley on FanDuel. And I don't love playing one-offs in weather games like that. My guess is they do everything they can to get this game in. We should know, a little bit pretty soon. But I personally am probably not going to, I don't have Atlanta stacks. I just have to decide whether I want to resist that really tempting Riley price. And I would love to get a Marlins lineup. Will make things a lot easier on me so I can know exactly who's hitting and where. Birdie may not play, and he may also be, leading off, in which case I love him. So little tricky there. The A's lineup just came out. Basically what you'd expect. Probably worth pointing out the A's haven't been quite as bad this year offensively as their pitching has been. They have the 2.49 run total. You just know Castillo is going to be like 80% owned in the big buy-ins or single entries. And I think trying to get different makes some sense. He is going to be my biggest buy-in on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I'm taking a little bit more of I don't want to say risky approach or whatever. I am playing Burns in my biggest buy-in on FanDuel. I'm not sure that I love that. It's just what I ended up with right now. And I wanted to get some Burns exposure and not have him shut out. But I do think Castillo and Javier are still more preferred. You do get a little bit of a pricing discount on Burns over on FanDuel. I think if you also wanted to include other pitchers, I think Brady Singer would be the other one to include. He's just been so bad from a strikeout perspective. It's kind of hard for me to be too excited about him. He does get Detroit, got to like that. But, I mean, this guy's strikeouts have been really low with the exception of one game against Atlanta where he struck out 8. Like, it's just really, really tricky to play pitchers with that low of a ceiling. But I do think Detroit helps make up for that a little bit at least. So that's my thoughts there. Guys, drop in questions and thoughts. I don't have a whole lot of other stuff to get into because it's pretty straightforward. I'm at 70% Castillo, which I'm probably going to end up with like 60 and just be a little below the field. But I don't even like – I just don't think that Castillo, Javier, Burns, Ober get outscored enough to where I'm going to be including too many other guys. I got 60% Javier, 40% Burns, 30% Ober. that's sort of what I'm looking at right now. First base, I have a lot of Ty France because I like that Seattle stack. And I think that if you're not playing him, I think Pascantino or Garrett Cooper would be my next two favorites. Second base, Michael Massey's a value saver at 2,200. You also have Julian in there leading off at 2,700, which I think is interesting. I have a little bit of Caballero in a couple of my Seattle stacks, but honestly, not really my favorite play to make in the world. Just wanted to throw out that I do, in all transparency, have some of them just to make it as a full 5-man. McKinstry would be my other favorite one-off or part of stack. Third base, Suarez is my most used third baseman. Nick Maton and Michael Garcia are probably the other ones I'm using. Again, Garcia in a 5-man stack, batting 9th. I probably wouldn't be using him outside of 5-man stacks. Outfield, Soler, Kalenic, Rodriguez. I do have some Pollock, but I think I'm going to get off of some of that just because I don't love that he's batting 8th, and I think he comes out against the bullpen enough of the time here where I'm probably not going to be happy. Akil Baddoo, Riley Green from Detroit, but I am going to lower my Pollock ownership once I get off here because I have too much right now. I like the Cabrera as a get weird play still. I think that's totally fine. I'm not using it because I'm not really needing to. I just figure I can get different elsewhere. But I do think that Cabrera would be a very viable get weird play. Absolutely. Hi to Danny P. And any other questions or thoughts, guys? I'll jump real quickly to basketball. It's really hard to come up with builds tonight that you can't play the 4 best guys. You can't really play 3 of them and be comfortable. I think taking a weird gamble on Mo Bamba is probably worth it just to take a shot at a giant tournament. But I don't love that. I actually think you can captain Hachimura to make sure to get 3 of the studs in. I think that's another thing you can consider doing tonight. And for what it's worth, I do think the Lakers get one game, and I think this will be this is the game they obviously have to get this one. I have a feeling they win tonight, and I haven't said that this whole series yet. So my feeling is that they go back to Denver down 3-1 and lose the series there. I mentioned Danny right off the bat. Seattle's my number 1 stack right now, but I'm going to be lessening my ownership of AJ Pollock just because I think it's a little bit. I don't love that he's batting 8th. I'll just put it that way, I guess. It's the easiest way I could say it. But I'm going to sort of have to reshuffle my builds. He is a 5th man in my stack, so I'm okay with that. I guess I just get nervous a little bit about the pinch hit risk if another pitcher comes in. Hopefully he can do his damage off Mueller early. All right, guys, fired any other thoughts? This is, again, kind of a lame slate. We've got the full big one tomorrow. There's a lot more to go through, a lot more possibilities. But I'm keeping it pretty simple for right now. As far as today goes, we still don't have a Miami lineup, and once Miami's lineup is out, I'm probably going to set my lineups and forget them. I have to go do a family thing, but I'll be checking in on Discord for all the premium members. We'll be in there talking about everything as it comes up. And it's been a little quieter lately because we haven't had big wins, but also Rhodey was gone. Now he's back. Sheets was out. Now he's kind of coming back. Hopefully we'll get him back, and hopefully everything goes well on his end and his family. But yeah, my takes are very similar to what I liked earlier today, and I'm just not getting spread out that much, which again, it's going to it's going to raise my variance, but when I hit, I'm going to have multiple opportunities of how to hit exactly. And that's the route I'm taking right now. So pop in any questions, pop in any thoughts. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here and say good luck and good night to everybody because I think that's pretty much all we got. But yeah, let me know if there's anything you guys have that you want to talk about before I do leave. Seems like it's drying up. Appreciate all you guys very much. Make sure to like and subscribe. Please like the video. We appreciate it. Allows us to keep doing these things for free if you guys do keep liking them. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me tonight. And sort of an uninspiring Monday slate. Good luck, Danny. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to Rich. Good luck to everybody else in the chat. And we'll see you guys hopefully at the top leaderboards later on tonight and see some screenshots.